Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be drilling a lot of holes, repairing the majority of the delams, and talking about some process additions for the vertical surfaces. If you have not checked out my previous video on how to repair delaminations, go ahead and give that a watch before this video, as some of the steps in this video will correspond to it. As always, drop any questions you may have in the comments below and I'll try to answer them as soon as I can. After marking the holes, we'll begin drilling a clearance hole through the top laminate to allow us to do the epoxy ejections with the syringe. Alright, so for this front section, we're going to start at the aft side of the delam, since this is higher, and we're going to work our way forward. This is less delammed than this as well, so once we start filling some of this up, then we'll probably pull it closed. I'm going to have to do a couple epoxy mixes during this. One thing I do want to say, I mentioned it earlier, but epoxy is an exothermic reaction, so if we just take like the temperature of the boat right now in the garage, it's about 88, 89 degrees. The temperature of the epoxy is 105, 106, it's well over 100. So that's what you have to be careful about when mixing epoxy, is the more epoxy you have, the faster it heats up. So in this cup, I did 6 pumps and used it all pretty quickly, but it's still getting pretty hot. You don't really have to worry about it until it gets a lot hotter than this, but you can definitely feel the difference in temperature. But let's go ahead and start. So since we're getting pretty close to the pot life of the first batch, I'm actually going to go ahead and run some fasteners in to about here-ish. So that way, if it does start curing, when it does start curing, we're already, pulled together for the most part. And then we'll probably go back through and backfill a little bit. So the goal here for me is going to be to work kind of diagonally to pull these plies together. Once those fasteners are in, we're going to mix up another batch of epoxy and continue with injections. Now my camera did get too hot here being in the garage and died. Alright guys, so we're over in this repaired area, and as you can see, there's tape over all the holes. So the process that you'll see me doing is I'll inject the bottom holes until I feel that they're filled up all the way, and then throw this section of tape over it, and then gradually work my way up. And so since I wasn't able to take the holes apart and we're doing these injections on a vertical surface, obviously all the epoxy is going to want to flow down. So this tape is really important to make sure that none of the epoxy comes out of these lower holes. And you can see this area where I had to tape up again because there was epoxy squeezing out, and all of these areas where the epoxy was squeezing out. But In my mind, that's a good thing because that means we're getting this cavity completely filled. So let's go ahead and do a quick coin tap test. We'll run these fasteners back out and do another one. So for reference, let's slide you over here. This area is not repaired yet, so we'll do a quick test over here. And then the repaired area. So that's like a nice solid hole. All right, so it's the only downside of tape, but we'll clean all this stuff up later. So let's go ahead and do another coin tap and see how this sounds. So I think that sounds pretty darn successful. If we take a look at this profile, we'll probably take a look at it later once I can clean all this stuff off. But the downside of doing these repairs is it does affect the whole OML profile, but I'd rather have a stronger boat than one that's shaped properly. And when you do this, you can really use whatever size drill you want that's bigger than your fastener. My recommendation would just be to make sure that you still get a good seal with the syringe you're using, and also don't go too big to where the fastener head doesn't have anywhere to grab onto. Alright, we got another batch of epoxy mixed up, so let's go ahead and start getting to work on this right hand aft delamination. I don't have too much masking tape left, so cellophane's the only other thing I have. We'll see, maybe this will work better because the epoxy won't impregnate the backer. But we're going to go ahead and use up the rest of the masking tape first. So as you can see, in total, we definitely drilled close to, if not over, 1,000 holes by my count. In the next video, we still need to repair the upper center holes, so we'll be using positive clamping pressure in the next video. Thanks for watching, see you in the next one.